Hi everyone, welcome to Hoops and Hurdles. This is your girl Teresa Mack, better known as Shayla. I'm coming today to start Resuscitated by God Part 2. Hope everyone is having a blessed Sunday. Hope everyone went to church or caught some type of service or something. I did two services this morning, and when I say God is good, God is good. I'm going to continue to do what He has asked me to do, which is be obedient, and just love on others. Um, yeah. So I guess we might well say this. Oh, y'all see my shirt? Resuscitated by God. I got a shirt made because, like I said, this my life story, my testimonies. God is going to get the glory because without Him, I wouldn't have made it this thus far, and I just want to thank Him. Um, I don't know about you, but I'm grateful and blessed to have a father who loves me even when I didn't love myself. He loved me even when I was in mess, and just he pours out blessings when you just be still and be obedient and you hear his voice. Man, I could go on and on. Today was really I had two good services today. I just don't glorify God on Sundays. I glorify God every day because not only does He wake me up every day, but God, He has been amazing in my life. I'm most definitely in the hands of God, and I just want to say I'm grateful, I'm blessed, and I'm thankful to have a father as him, like him. I'm happy to be a royalty kid with royalty blood running through my veins. So with that being said, let's get into it. So yesterday I did part one of Resuscitated by God. These are not just made up events. These are basically my life events, my life story, but it's in snippets. I don't know if you caught the first part of Resuscitated by God. If you haven't, I suggest you go back and watch it. But basically, people have been wanting me to write a book, which in God's timing that would happen. But right now, this is how He want me to do it. So I'm kind of giving snippets of what my book will entail when God tells me to do my book. Plus, when you have a book, it's more full detail. But this is kind of like a little snippet or a preview of what I'm going to do. And then you y'all see that my internet is acting real funny today. But I named it resuscitation, and then God was like, "No, I'm gonna get the glory for this." He said, "So we're gonna call it resuscitated by God." So yeah, that's what it is. So today I am in chapter 5 of Resuscitated by God, and it is called Robin Hood and the Thieves. So, like I said, if you haven't caught part one, go back, watch it, subscribe, share, follow, like, etc. But today we are in part 2 of Resuscitated by God, and I'm going into chapter 5. If my internet keep going in and out, I'm sorry. Texas haven't had rain in like 3 months, so we finally getting some rain. God is finally giving us relief, and I'm thankful. I'm not even complaining. I'm thankful. Even I'm thankful for the homeless people because I know they need this break. So if my internet go in and out, I'm sorry. I'm still gonna continue talking. Um, but yeah, just give you a heads up. So, chapter 5, Robin Hood and the Thieves. My mother was not only a single parent of two, but she was also an Army veteran. So, yeah, I'm an Army brat. My mother was not only the firstborn out of all of her siblings, but she was the first to graduate college with 2 degrees. Don't play my mama. My mother was my shero. Just because a man was not in the household does not mean my mother was not financially stable. My mother stated that she chose to live middle class because she wanted us to know what it felt like to work for what we wanted and not have things given to us. My mother stated that we could have lived upper class and drove nice cars. However, she did not want that for us. So I think it was like my mother's last days. She was trying to get like her life insurance stuff in order. and things like that. So she was just trying to see who wanted what and etc. And I don't know, Kane, my brother, he just, I don't know. I guess he thought we were just poor. But my mother finally stated, she was like, we're not poor. We never was poor. I just chose to live middle class. She said, because I wanted my children to know what it felt like to work for what you wanted and not me give it to you. She said, because you see what state I am in. She said, and when God calls me home, if I were just to give you all things and not let you work for it, she was like, I will be enabling my children. She was like, and I didn't want to enable you all. So I want you all to work for what you wanted. She said, but if I wanted us to live like the upper class people and live in big houses and drive nice cars, we could have done that. But I didn't want that for you all because I wanted y'all to work. I understood or whatever, because now that I'm older, you value the things that you have worked hard for, and you're grateful. You're more grateful and appreciative because you worked hard for those things, and than somebody giving it to you. So I get it, and I got it, and I understood. When my mother was battling cancer, I remember the conversations that we had about finances and what she was leaving behind for us to have from her life insurance. This was my first time ever hearing six figures and knowing that she was leaving this to me. Woo, child. Woo. My mother stated that she wanted me to finish high school, and if I wanted to go to college, that I could pay for it myself, because she did not want me to take out any student loans. My mother stated that she had me set to where I did not have to work unless I wanted to. Y'all, I wanted to work because I wanted to have that independent feeling. It just, I guess, because I seen my mother work all her life, it was kind of like I wanted to do it too. My grandmothers and them worked all their life, and I wanted to do it too. I mean, I'm blessed that you leaving me money, but I still kind of wanted that independency. How can I play money? I wanted that play money. But she was just letting me know that I did not have to work if I did not want to work. She just let me know, when I'm not here, you good. You don't have to work if you don't want to work. But I wanted to work. I just could not believe what I was hearing, but understood my mother's decisions. Well, my mother has transitioned, and let's just say what she wanted me to have, I never received it. Whoosh! I knew that my mother was sending money and taking care of other family members before transitioning, but now they are on the come up after the passing of my mother. This was what my mother was afraid of, per my grandmother. Let's just say I worked jobs that did not appreciate my work ethic. My salaries was trash, barely making ends meet, and I have a bunch of student loans. My life or future did not matter to others once my mother head got cold. But in Ephesians 5:5, it states that greedy people will not gain everlasting life. In Proverbs 28:20, it states that those hastening to get rich will not remain innocent. They may even be tempted to commit crimes such as blackmail, extortion, fraud, kidnapping, or murder. Hmm. Y'all, let me tell y'all, when I first found out what was going on, like, I guess that's why I'm so connected to young people, because people think just because you're young, you don't know anything. I was 14 years old when my mother told me how much money I was getting and where it all was going and etc. And I was also drawing her Social Security, because when she passed, I ended up drawing her Social Security, and I think her Social Security was like almost maybe 600 to 900. I can't remember, but it was up there. I never received it. I only seen that check one time after my mother head got cold, and that's when my uncle had asked for it because he wanted to get, I don't know if he had to get his medications or it's something that my uncle wanted, and I And I was like, well, let him have the check, because if my mother were here, she probably would help him finance whatever he needed. So let him have that check or whatever. And we'll just do, and we'll get the next one. So I let him have that check. That was my first and last time ever seeing that check. And every time I asked about that check, I was physically assaulted or I was verbally abused. So yeah, that's how that went down. So um as I got older, I started speaking more out about it. And people trying to still make me feel like I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. I think I even had to get a lawyer. I tried to get a lawyer involved. Even the lawyer, got involved, and I almost had the lawsuit, but at that time, it in the funds and stuff that people's stuff was already getting garnished, so it wasn't nowhere for them to pull the money for me. But it was, the whole thing was just horrible. And I was like, this is what my mother was afraid of. And it actually happened, what she stated was going to happen, that I wasn't going to see any of the money. And it was crazy. Like, wow. 1 Timothy 6:10 says it all. The love of money is a root of all sorts of injury things, which means money in itself is not wrong. But people who love money, who make it their focus in life, bring problems on themselves, such as broken families and poor health from overwork. I remember the words my grandmother spoke to this specific relative, and years later, things she said came to pass. God's wrath was just like my grandmother stated that day. And it was crazy because I seen it all come to pass. I'll never forget that conversation. It was like 2004 when the money thing started happening and then things started going on. I wasn't getting the money. I remember like it was 6 figures, but out of 6 figures, I only got like $3,000. And it was just enough to only finish like one semester at Hines. And at the time, I don't think Hines, it wasn't that expensive at the time, but that's all I received. $3,000. My mother's job, life insurance, which was like $10,000. So I'm like, okay, where's the rest of it? But then they tried to play me. So they sent me this copy of the check, which was $10,000. You gave me $3,000, and not on top of that, you gave me pictures of my mother in a casket. And then you're gonna say, out of the $10,000, the $3,000 was all that was left because y'all had to bury my mother, which was a lie. My mother was an Army veteran. Everything was paid for. My mother's funeral was paid for. My mother's casket was paid for. My mother's headstone was paid for by the military. My mother had a whole military wedding. When I say when we walked in the church, swords, the army men were there with the swords. We walked into the swords. We got to the burial site. They played the horns. They did the 3 shots. They did the flag. They folded the flag. They gave the flag to my grandmother. So you're not going to play me and think I'm stupid because of my age. I was very mature for my age. My mama had put me up on game way, before she transitioned. So that's the part that really kind of pissed me off with my family members. They kind of like tried to get out on me. But, like I said, my grandmother kind of was pissed off too. So she kind of started getting into the situation. And she stated these words in 2014. She was like, the things y'all are doing to this child. She was like, I may be dead or gone. I may live to see it. She said, but you're going to reap what you sow. She said, and you better pray that it come back through you, because if it come back through your children, it's going to be 10 times worse. So stop what you're doing and get this child the money that her mother left for her. I never seen that money. I never seen it at all. I felt betrayed, but never allowed my heart to become bitter or hardened at all. God has been keeping me and will be giving me back everything that was stolen from me. Deuteronomy 33-13 will be more. Yeah, I'm giving scripture because everything is in Bible. Seriously. That hurted me to a lot because the things my mother did, it's like, my mother left me set up. You know, it's kind of like, I don't want you one for anything. Like, if you want to get you a house, get you a house. If you want to, you know, and I was like, okay, you know, I got you, mama. You know, yeah, okay. But it's kind of like when my mama's head got cold, it's kind of like, did nobody care about my future? Did nobody care about how I was going to live? Like, my first car was a 91 Buick Century. I had to use my financial aid money to get a car. I remember I had my eyes on it was a white Honda Accord with a rooftop. And it was like right there in the town of Raymond. And I went and told my uncle about it. He went and looked at it and he was like, I don't see nothing wrong with it. He was like, it's a nice car. But they made me use my financial aid to buy the car. But I didn't get the car that I wanted. They went and found an old 91 Buick Century from an old woman and bought me that car. Why would you buy me something that you probably didn't pay nothing but like $500 for? If not that, because back then you wasn't paying much for no vehicle. You probably didn't pay no more than maybe $800, maybe $1,000 to get that car. And you kind of say, I guess, took the rest of the money for yourself. Like, when I say they played me, y'all, they tried to play me. And it's like, now I'm getting my PhD, and it's by the grace of God, you know, that I'm getting through this program. But when I see them student loans, I be like, this is what my mother did not want me to have. And, you know, and it's kind of like, these people really didn't care about my future. They didn't care about how I was going to live or survive, or like, it's stuff I went through that I think I shouldn't have not gone through. That's why I say I have to tell my story. I have to get this out. This is how you going to see God's glory, through my story. Because there's some stuff I shouldn't have went through, y'all, but I went through. But God knew I was going to go through it, and he kept me through it all. So that's why he renamed this Resuscitated by God. Because my own people try to take me out, bro. Literally. But God. But God. So let's move on to chapter 6. Deathbed. I attended a community college and was working at a fast food restaurant. I am going to be real. I was just going to college just to say I was going, because people were comparing me to my mother, and I felt I should be in college. I was going through an identity crisis and just wanted to make my mother proud. Yet I was not happy. I was clinging on to whomever came into my life because I was seeking in them what I no longer had in my life. I was taking all kinds of emotional and verbal abuse. I did not see anything wrong with it because I was just living life not knowing any better. People called me sheltered and mushy, which was all I knew because the way I was raised. Can we say I was being codependent, but did not know I was being codependent at this time again? I was not only giving myself, but was giving others money. Like, I didn't care nothing about myself. Like, I was just putting everybody before me. Let's put it like that. I was putting everybody else before me. I had low self-esteem, had the desire to take care of others, desire to feel important to others, ignore my own feelings for others, difficulty communicating in relationships, friendships, valuing the approval of others more than valuing myself. I was known as the giver and making sacrifices for others when the feelings were not mutual. That is what a codependent was. And I didn't even know it. But I was doing those things. Like, I was getting in choirs, you know, to try to, because I love singing. And I was getting in choirs. The choir was toxic. They would talk about me. They didn't even get to know me. I'm trying to get in the cliques and groups and stuff, you know, to be, you know, validated. Like, I'm clicking up to people trying to be validated. They really didn't care about me, who was talking about me, who was dragging my name, who was lying on me. Like, when I say going through hell and high water, when I say I was in more altercations than anything, from verbal to physical, and I'm still trying to be friends and be, you know, in this, well, I mean, it was just crazy. Like, I'm just still trying to be a part of something that's toxic. But that's because I was a codependent and didn't even know it. I didn't know any better. I lost my mother at 14. After I lost my mother, you know, I had my godmother. She could, you know, she taught me what she could. But when it came to family, my family didn't teach me anything. You would think, okay, if she done lost her mother. I didn't know financial literacy. I didn't even know what panty liners was. I seen one of my bonus aunties, but I call her my auntie because they helped raise me. She put her panty line on. I was like, what is that? What's that for? Remind you, I was in my late teens, going into my 20s. And she was like, this is a panty liner, T. And I was like, what does that do? And she had to tell me what it does. It's stuff like that I did not know. But when I say God always send you people and that will help you and push you, like it pushed me through this thing. I didn't know how to cook, the family that God blessed me with, the bonus family, they taught me how to cook. They taught me how to be a woman. They taught me how to be independent. They taught me how to be who basically I am today. Be strong, Sometimes I would cry, and my grandma be like, stop, my bonus grandma, but I call her grandma now, because she grandma, she'd be like, stop crying, get it yourself together. Because I was an emotional wreck. Like, only thing I knew was to cry. Like, it was bad, y'all. It was bad. I'm telling you. But I was a codependent. Didn't even know I was a codependent. Oh, okay. It was terrible over here. When I was not able to give anymore, I was discarded, which drove me into suicidal thoughts. Yes, I tried taking my own life because I felt that the individual really cared about me, yet they really did not. They were all about self, and when I could not come through financially, I was put out of the home. My grandmother was no longer living. She transitioned on Christmas Day, 2005, which tore me to pieces. And let's just say I saw my grandmother die too. I seen my grandmother transition on Christmas. Like, yeah, I was sitting there when she took her last breath on Christmas. I was present when my grandmother took her last breath and my life spiraled out of control and fast. Being abandoned, rejected, and told that if I was on my deathbed, they would not care, played over and over in my head. Being sexually, physically, emotionally, verbally abused took a toll on me mentally and all before the age of 23. Therefore, I wanted to kill myself and tried taking my life more than once. But God always had someone there to intervene. God saw purpose, but I did not understand it during this time of my life. I felt like Joseph, due to all the rejection, but God was using it to help me develop thick skin because what was ahead of me, such as promotions and the promises he had for me. Y'all, I was taking some stuff from people that I really cared about and I thought cared about me. Like, I was giving my last. I ain't had nowhere to go. Like, when I really came out last year and told my family I had abandonment issues because I feel like when my grandmother died, did nobody care where I was. But God had placed me with a family that really took me in as one of their own. You know what I'm saying? And did nobody try to come looking for me? Did nobody try to see where I was? Did nobody even care? And then on top of that, it was like a friend of the family kept coming back telling me what a family member of mine was saying about me. And I'm like, how can they even put their mouth on me and they don't even talk to me? Like, people always say family is thicker than water. And I roll with it all my life because with my grandmother Sarah and my grandma Classy, it was always family. But it's something about with them when the matriarchs, when they die, boy, it's something about when they die, the family, it turns ruthless. But to me, I just feel as though the things that's been covered up just unfolds. Because you can only do things so long in the dark where God is going to eventually start revealing that thing. I ain't gonna lie, I always felt as though I was different in my family. I know everybody be like, oh, you Rosemary's baby girl, you Rosemary's child. Even when my mom, I always felt different. I always felt like I was more mature and advanced. And when I say that when them matriarchs died, man, When my grandma died on Christmas 2005, I was shattered. When I went to her funeral, I couldn't even believe that was my grandmother. The last conversation I had with my grandmother is she finally taught me, because when my grandma used to cook, she didn't like you in the kitchen. She used to put, like, she'll freeze water in like a gallon jug. She'll put it out. If she's finna cook, she'll put it out. Whatever you need, she'll put it out so you don't have to come in the kitchen while she cooks. Because she did not like nobody in the kitchen while she cooked. But I should knew something was going on, because one day I had called her because I wanted some baked chicken. Yeah, I didn't know how to bake chicken. Yeah, oh, okay. So I wanted some baked chicken, and I called my grandma because I wanted some baked chicken, and she gave me the recipe. And it didn't dawn on me then that she just gave me the recipe, and that something was wrong. So I needed something from her house, and I went by her house, and I noticed her eyes, like one was kind of cocked, the other one was straight, and I was like, something ain't right with grandma, something wasn't right. And then I was like, I'm tripping. I was like, I gotta be tripping. So I think I was looking for a movie or a DVD or something, and she was helping me find it. And as she was helping me find it, she said, well, Teresa, don't be a stranger. And she said, come back and see me. I said, now, grandma, I'm coming back to see you. I was a teenager. As teenagers, we get the hot foot, we run in the street, I said, grandma, I'm coming back and see you. Now I don't know why you acting like that. And she was like, okay. She said, well, be careful out there. And I said, yes, ma'am. Y'all, that was the last time I heard from my grandma and seen my grandmother. The last time I seen my grandmother, she was fighting for her life. And she died. When I say shattered. And people probably will not believe me, but I'm going to say it anyway. I seen my mother, grandmother, and my uncle that I have never seen a day in my life, because he was dead before I was born, walk in that room. Because I remember sitting in that seat, y'all, on Bible. I remember sitting in that seat, and I seen them come in that room. And I kept saying, y'all, don't take her. Don't take my grandma. Do not take her. Do not take her. I remember repeating it over and over again. Don't take her. Please don't take her. And when I looked over there, she was gone. And my other auntie was on the other side of the bed. She had her head down and she was praying. And I just looked over there at her. And I said, they done came and got her. She gone. And when my auntie looked up, she looked at me. She said, what? I said, grandma no longer with us. It's just a body. And when she looked, she kept saying, mama, mama, mama. My grandma was gone. And I remember running out that room crying. I should have known then that God had a calling on my life, and I was running from it. I wasn't even paying attention to it. But when I seen that, I should have knew something then, y'all. But when you blind, when you lost, when you in darkness, when you don't know then. I didn't know. Lord, I didn't know. Let's move into the next chapter. Couch surfing, homeless. At this point in time, I was working as a CNA at the state hospital and barely was making ends meet. I think working as a CNA at the state hospital, I think our check was no more than $500. I kid you not. I think it was no more than $500. I would work overtime because I had nowhere to go. And the places that I could go, I was not wanting and was tired mentally. And even though I was working overtime, they was not paying money. It all went to like your personal time, like the time you want to take off. They weren't paying monetarily if you worked overtime. It was all going to the time if you want to take off. Sometimes I would eat with the patients because my money was funny. My colleagues would bless me with food, or the head nurses, which I was grateful for. They can tell you all that I never complained about my situation. I just did what I had to do to survive. One of my church members knew about my situation because I confided in them about it. She wanted to help me, but did not have room within her home, yet found me somewhere to stay temporarily. I was sleeping on a stranger's couch, y'all, but felt like she was good people because she was connected to my church member. When I think when I think all things are going well, I get sick. When I tell y'all the devil was really after me, the devil was really after me. I was having back I was having back pains, loss of appetite, always sleeping, dizziness, and urinating blood. I remember laying on the bathroom floor and asking God to give me strength to get off the floor. I did not have any money like that to go see a physician, but I knew that I needed to see somebody. I could not take the pain anymore. I went to the emergency room and was diagnosed with a kidney infection. But the kidney infection had got so bad, y'all. It was messing with my vision. Like, it was bad. I did not have money to get prescriptions, but thank God for my church member because she assisted me with that. On the other hand, my mother will always tell me to watch people's actions towards you. And that's how you know that you have wore out your welcome. Well, I did just that when it came to this lady whom I was temporarily living with. She was talking about me to other people on the phone, and she started asking me for rent money, which she knew that I could not pay her. Yeah, I got on down and went back to living how I was living until further notice. So when I say I went back to living how I was living until further notice, I basically was still trying to work overtime. I had all my belongings in my car. I would eat at work, um, unless the nurses or some buy us food. I would drink the patient's juice. Like, yeah. And if you a CNA and you work, in a nursing home, you know what the food look like. But hey, at that time you can't complain. You have to do what you have to do to survive and stay afloat. Um until one of my colleagues seen all my belongings in my car at work. She asked me what was going on and why all my stuff was in my car. I told her what was going on with tears in my eyes. She opened her home up to me, and right after that, I was able to get my own place, which I was so proud of. All I had was my clothes, a 13-inch TV, and a beach towel to sleep on. I did not care, y'all. I was excited to be in my own crib. So when I finally found my own apartment, it was like off Clinton Boulevard, an apartment off Clinton Boulevard. And like I said, I had my clothes, like my pictures and stuff, and awards and stuff. A 13-inch TV, and I went to Walmart, got them little plastic bins, and I put my TV on that little plastic bin, and I slept on a beach towel. And I went to the dollar store and got like little towels and stuff to, I could take baths and stuff and wash dishes and stuff like that. But I did not care. I was happy. I had my own. I didn't have to sleep on nobody else's couch. I didn't have to feel like I was unwanted anymore. Like, it was kind of like a peace of mind for me. I eventually started getting furniture, but just having my own was a blessing. One of my aunties, I think one of her friends or something was like moving out of town or moving out of state, and they had like some furniture stored in the storage room. And when I say my auntie, y'all, it's like my bonus family. Um, and the woman didn't want to take the furniture with her, so she asked my aunt, did she know anybody that needed something? And my auntie said, yeah, my niece just moved into her apartment. Like, I could get it for her. And so that's how I end up getting furniture for my apartment. My bonus auntie friend gave me the furniture and didn't charge me for anything. And I was very grateful for it because I didn't have anything. Um, so as I was living in these apartment complexes, my car eventually broke down. So luckily, I had a friend who's like a sister now, but she also was a CNA at the state hospital. She was living in the same apartment complex as I was. So I was catching rides with her on days we would work together. And one particular day I had made some tuna. And I had called her and I said, hey, I'm on my way to your house. I said, but I'm gonna take this trash out because I fixed some tuna and I don't want my house smelling like tuna fish when I come back. I said, so I'm gonna drop the trash off, then I'm headed to your house. She said, okay. So as I was walking to the trash, minding my business, I got robbed at gunpoint in my own apartment complex. I can still feel the cold barrel of the revolver on my forehead and can still see the bullets in the gun, not knowing if that was it for me. After the robber took what he wanted from me, I began to scream for help so loud. He turned around and pointed the gun back at my head and stated that if you continue to scream, I will kill you right where you stand. But God, I stopped screaming, but when he cut that corner, I ran to my friend's house. And when I ran in her house, she was like, what's going on with you? And I told her, she said, what happened to you? And I told her, and I still went to work, y'all. Because I was like, I don't know. I was like, I can't stay here. I got to go to work. Like, I still went to work after just being robbed at gunpoint. But I canceled all my cards and all that good stuff. And the only way they was able to track it, thank you, Lord. The only way they was able to track my card, he was trying to use my debit card, but I think I canceled it in time or something. But they knew it was my card because I just had paid my light bill that same day on my credit card. So they knew it was mine. So what he was trying to take out didn't go through. And it was, I want to say, they said it was a man who was in his apartment. He heard me hollering. He heard the commotion when I was getting robbed at gunpoint. And the guy said he was kind of looking out the window. And, he was kind of peeping out the window and seeing everything that was going on. He was my witness. Like, he was the one that called it in, said what the little guy looked like and everything. And they found the boy. I didn't even stay in my apartment. I think I stayed with my friend for like a whole week. I couldn't even stay in my apartment because I was like, this man got all my information. I don't know where he come from. This man may come to my house and finish me off. Like, it's like my mind was just, and so with that information that the man who seen the whole incident gave, they was able to find the guy who robbed me. I think like 3 days later. They said the guy was actually staying in that same apartment complex with his girlfriend. And I guess when he seen me, it was like, okay, yeah, let me rob her. And I ain't had number $7 on me. So to this day, I don't even carry cash because I'm like, I can always cancel my card. I don't even have checks, so I can always cancel my cards, but I don't even carry cash like that. So when people ask for cash, when I tell people I don't carry cash, that's the reason why I do not carry cash. Yeah. And he took my phone too. And I didn't even care about the phone because back then it was like a to-go phone that my grandma had got me. And I'm talking about my bonus grandma because my biological grandma was deceased. But it was like a to-go phone. So that was a mini phone. So we didn't care about that. So it was just like that thing was like, Lord. And that's how I say God getting the glory for my story. I'm telling y'all, because I do not supposed to be here telling y'all none of this. I should have been dead a long time ago, but God. The next chapter and the last chapter of part 2, homosexuality and soul ties. This curse was introduced to me at an early age. After being sexually molested by a man, here comes homosexuality. Back in the day, they would say, let's play house or mommy and daddy, yet not knowing that this was a curse / soul tie we was putting up on ourselves. My Lord. My relationship with men has never been stable. I felt like Queen Latifah in the movie Just Right, where all the men just wanted to be cool and friends. In high school, I had a crush. I had a couple of crushes, but never was able to talk to them unless I was with friends because of the foolishness I was dealing with in my own home. Who would have thought that I would be indulging in this lifestyle as an adult? Homosexuality, that is. I knew that this spirit was not of God and wrestled with it. I just wanted to be loved, and what I was lacking, I found in this ungodly spirit. When I thought I was done with this lifestyle, it presented itself again and again, and I will fall right back into it. I was wrapped up so bad in this cycle that it came between people who I was close to. This lifestyle almost got me killed yet again. God had someone there in my path to intervene on my behalf. God had to move me to another state to strip me naked and build me back up in his image. Y'all, before I continue, that spirit was hard to shake, because every time I turned around, the devil knew what my weakness was. He knew, oh, I can get her like this. I can get her like it was people who was in the pulpit of a ministry, you know, who was married, that would still come and try to indulge in that spirit with me. And I'm like, no, like, we're not doing that. It's people who will, that spirit is something else. I have been around that spirit all my life. And when it's introduced to you so early, you never think that it will actually affect you or in your adulthood. I used to be so embarrassed to talk about that, and people used to find it, entertaining for their gossip to want to talk about my life story or my lifestyle that I was living at the time, but no longer living. Thank God for deliverance, for their entertainment. Because these people used to come to me and say, oh, I heard. Well, as of today, they don't have to tell you my story anymore, because it's my story. And whatever you heard, it may was twisted wrong. Yeah. That spirit had to stop with me. I prayed, and I asked God to get that off me. Because when my my mother died, I promised her that I was going to see her again. And I knew living that lifestyle, I'm not judging or, crucifying nobody who's actually living that lifestyle. That's you. You do you, boo. You do whatever make you happy. But I know what I told my mother on her deathbed. And I know that I am a child of God. And it was also told to me, Lord, I love this woman to death. And I'm not going to even call her name, but she knows who she is, because she was the one who came to me and told me to rest of that lifestyle you living is not for you. It's not for you at all. And I knew she was right. And I knew God sent her to tell me that. But God already knew my child is in the dark. My child is blindsided. She don't see nothing. This temptation is still getting at her. I'm going to have to move her and strip her naked, remove any toxicity out of her life, and build her up in my image. And he did just that. That's the type of God I serve. It was hard because the homosexuality spirit was still presenting itself. God was speaking to me in my dreams about it and told me that for me to receive what I have been praying for, I must turn from what was not of him. It was a struggle. But God held my hand through it all until I was no longer entertaining that ungodly spirit. Them soul ties heavy. Yes, I indulged in that lifestyle because I was not healed. I was wounded. I struggled with identity and lacking love. I was a prey for narcissists, but God. I thank God for saving me and recreating me to match his image. No, I do not judge others or people, period, for the lifestyle they live. However, I no longer live there, and being healed and whole with Jesus feels better than anything this world has to offer me. I promised my mother while she was transitioning to the other side that I would see her again, and meant just that. I shall wear a crown, and hear, well done, my good and faithful servant, when it is all over. So for you people who love to go tell my story, you can stop, because you don't get the glory for telling my story. God is going to get the glory because he's using me to tell my own story and how he brought me through to overcome. Some of y'all talk about people and don't know what they have gone through or what challenges they have been faced or traumatic experiences they have gone through. That's why you need to keep your mouth off people and stay in your own lane. Um, I just want to say thank you for tuning in to Resuscitated by God Part 2. Part 3 will be coming soon. I pray that everyone have a blessed Sunday. And if you have not subscribed to YouTube or my YouTube Hoops and Hurdles channel, I suggest you do it now. And if you want to follow Hoops and Hurdles links or our platforms, the thing is scrolling at the bottom as you see. So you can type that link in, or you can go to the Hoops and Hurdles Facebook or Instagram. The link is there. You just click it and you will have access to all Hoops and Hurdles platforms. God did not give me this platform to just have it. I didn't understand because I was like, Lord, you give me a podcast. Like, what's happening here? But now I get it. Everyone has a purpose. And when I leave, or when God has, or when my purpose has been fulfilled on this earth, when I go before the Lord, I want all my gifts and talents to be used. I want God to use me in every area. Some people used to talk about me when I first started this podcast and talked about how I spoke and, my country lingo. Well, babe, I didn't have a silver spoon in my mouth. And yes, I did take speech all the way up to second grade because I had a speech impediment problem. But God used Moses. And Moses had a stuttering problem. So if he could use Moses and others in the Bible, he can use me. So with that being said, y'all have a blessed Sunday. Don't eat too much. And can't wait to get to part 3 and close it out. Make sure you share it, like it, subscribe. And just know these are my words, my story, my truth. And God is going to get the glory. Y'all have a blessed day.